Remember, I think it was a couple years ago, Tom Cruise, he had that blowout on the set of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning about everybody following the COVID protocols. Good times. Let's review Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 stars Tom Cruise, Haley Atwell, Simon Pegg, Rebecca Ferguson, and is directed by Christopher McCoy. What's up, guys? Welcome to a brand new 2023 review, a brand new Mission Impossible movie. When was the last one? Was that like 3 years ago now? Something like that. But Fallout was really, really good. And it was, you know, a pivotal movie in the franchise because just when you start kind of waning on your likability of the franchise, then, you know, a movie like Fallout comes out and then jumps you right back up. There were moments in Fallout that actually felt like The Dark Knight to me. It was that good. And Dead Reckoning, not as good, but still a good Mission Impossible movie. And one observation I have about these movies too is like the first three movies feel like their own separate entity, even though they're not, they're still in the same, but they just feel different, you know, different directors, just a whole different vibe, I guess. And maybe they just, those first three movies feel not as conjoined as the rest of the franchise. I guess most of the Christopher McCoy movies, they all feel like, I guess, the sum of a lot of different parts. And it can be exhausting and confusing at times. I'm not going to lie. This is a franchise that unless you are completely like obsessed with it, then when you go back and watch one of these movies, it might be like watching it for the first time, you know? And that's just me, I guess. Like, I don't remember these movies for too long after I watch them. And that's just because I'm a casual fan. But I do think they are a step up, you know, from, I guess, say like the Fast and Furious franchise. Even though that franchise knows exactly what it is, this knows exactly what it is, Mission Impossible. I definitely take these movies more seriously. I guess as you should. But anyway, before we give you the spoiler-free review, let's give you a quick plot synopsis. Where do I start? You know what? Just to keep it simple, the whole plot of this movie kind of revolves around AI and you know, the current dilemma that we have, and if we don't control or I guess harness, respect this new ever-evolving technology, then it could bite us in the ass. I mean, this is stuff that we just, you know, explored back in like Terminator and Matrix and stuff like that. So AI is more prevalent than ever now. So this movie, I guess it kind of fits perfectly with the current times. So it's referred to as the entity. They don't really say AI. And the entity is kind of using this character named Gabriel as a host, played by the great Isaiah Morales. Have you guys ever seen Bad Boys, the original Bad Boys from 1983? He scared the living shit out of me in that movie. Isaiah Morales is one of the most underrated actors out there. And La Bamba, just so many great movies. And it's always nice when you see an actor from really kind of my childhood, you know, pop back up. I mean, he's been working in TV and some movies here and there, but I'm glad that he got a high-profile role like this. Is Gabriel the best villain that we've had in the Mission Impossible franchise? No, I don't think so. He's definitely deadly, you know. The thing about this villain, the entity and Gabriel, is they are always two steps ahead of everything that's going on, including Ethan Hunt. And I think the good thing that this movie does is it establishes how covert and how dangerous the Impossible Mission Force, the MIs, are. So, you know, you're setting the table there. You know, they're miles and miles above like the CIA and the FBI and all that. But still, even that, you know, the entity is a formidable foe. And I do like that they kind of tried to personify that threat with a person, Gabriel. But when I compare Gabriel to like other villains, even outside the Mission Impossible franchise, to me, even though he is deadly and he is dangerous, he does feel kind of hollow, I guess. And I guess that's the point, is what he's supposed to be. It feels less personal, even though there is a personal connection between Ethan and Gabriel, which I won't go into because that is kind of spoilerish, even though it's established early on. But the main plot is there is this key that is split into half. And so throughout the whole movie, they're trying to obtain not one, but two keys, which kind of reminds me, didn't we just see Dial of Destiny, which was similar, but that movie was not good at all? I think this movie takes that idea and really does a great job with it, sends it home, you know? It kept it compelling, and that's because of everything that was going on around that idea. And taking it even further and saying, okay, now that we put these keys together, what is it going to open? You know, that's a big part of this movie. Now, this is part one of two that's already established. And you might ask yourself, do they really need to tell, you know, this story in two movies? I'd say yes and no. Yes, because this one was highly entertaining. You know, it wasn't one of those situations where the whole movie was just kind of stretched really thin into two parts. No, there's a lot going on in this movie. There's a lot of action, but there's also time to breathe. It feels just like any other normal, you know, 2 hour and 45 minute action movie. You know, there's a lot to chew on in there. So yeah, but could you have actually told this whole story in one movie? Yeah, I think you could have, you know, but no regrets. We get two Mission Impossible movies. And really, I think this movie focuses more on this character Grace, played by Haley Atwell, and sort of the birth of a new MI agent, and a reluctant one. You know, she's this thief in the movie, kind of a pickpocket, and so you have somebody who's like, you know, in his later years of his career, and he's helping somebody out that's at the beginning that doesn't even really want to be at the beginning. You know, so a lot of this movie was riding on Haley Atwell, and I did not expect that at all, and it was nice. Don't get me wrong, still, this is a Tom Cruise movie, this is Ethan Hunt, but boy, does he let everybody shine in this movie. Everybody has their moments to really stick out. Of course, Simon Pegg is always charismatic, irresistible, has the funny moment. He is the comic relief of this movie. Many of you go to these movies for the action sequences. I can tell you right now, the action in this movie is freaking top notch. And there's two sequences that are worth the price of admission alone. One is this car chase in Venice. Ethan and Grace are actually handcuffed, and they're in this car that is probably as big as this chair that I'm sitting in. What makes it so great too is, you know, we've had all these moments throughout the franchise where Ethan, he seems like he's, you know, boss level, I guess you could say, if you were a gamer. He's just a top-notch agent, always 2 steps ahead of everybody. In this, because he has this new recruit, even though at the time she's not really a recruit, but she's inexperienced, and he has to try to maneuver around that, you know, so there's a weakness there, which makes it more dangerous and more exciting. And then there's also this train sequence that is just freaking jaw-dropping. I don't want to give too much away, but I'll just say just the way the setup was. And you can tell, even though, of course, there's like a green screen. They're going to use a green screen with a freaking train that's falling off a cliff. But you can still tell that Tom Cruise is doing some pretty dangerous shit in that enclosure. Tom Cruise, he always ups his game with every movie, you know, with his stunts. You know that he did the motorcycle stunt in this movie, and I think he did it like 6 times. He's just amazing, and he works so hard to entertain you, you know? He goes out of his way, puts himself in harm's way to entertain the audience. And you gotta give the guy credit. But he doesn't like showboat, you know, and this movie is a great example of that. So I would definitely give this low purchase worthy. Really fun, and by the way, I got to see this with my daughter tonight. Got to take my daughter to a press screening, which was really fun. She enjoyed it. Yeah, it was awesome. So yeah, definitely check out this movie when you get a chance. I think it comes out next Wednesday. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we do Free for Fridays. Follow me, Drumdums, on my social, support me on Patreon, buy me a coffee. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Drumdum out.